Hey there, folks. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a coin rattling around in your pocket that was actually worth more than your house, your car, and your kid's college fund combined? Imagine flipping a quarter to decide who does the dishes, only to realize you just tossed away nearly $2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're talking about the 2015 Kisatchie National Forest quarter minted in Philadelphia, the little silver-colored circle that could transform you from spare change scavenger to million-dollar legend overnight. So grab your coin jar, a comfy chair, and maybe a magnifying glass, because for the next 50 minutes, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this elusive, outrageously valuable quarter. We'll cover what makes it special, why collectors are paying up to $1.9 million for the right one, and how you can spot one yourself. Don't wander off. At the end of this video, I'll share my own slightly embarrassing story about a time I almost spent a valuable coin at a gas station. Stick around for that, and you'll see why you should always check your change. What in the world is a Kisatchie, anyway? If you're not from Louisiana, you might be scratching your head. Kisatchie National Forest is the only national forest in Louisiana, and it's absolutely massive. Over 600,000 acres of pines, swamps, and the kind of wildlife you usually only see on postcards or in documentaries narrated by folks with soothing British accents. In 2015, the U.S. Mint honored Kisatchie as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters series. They minted millions of these coins with the majestic image of a wild turkey taking flight right on the back. Beautiful? Absolutely. Common? Mostly, yes. Not all of them are created equal. Some of these quarters came off the presses with unique characteristics that make them worth their weight in pure gold, and then some. Alright, let's get to the juicy part. Why does this particular 2015 Kisatchie quarter command a price tag that would make a Ferrari blush? It all boils down to a perfect storm of mint errors, rarity, and condition. Rare die varieties. Some quarters have doubling on the date or the word Liberty. Under magnification, the letters look like they've got a ghostly shadow right next to them. This is called a doubled die error, and collectors go absolutely bananas over it. High-grade condition. We're not talking about the dirty, gum-encrusted coin you find wedged under the couch. No, sir. The million-dollar examples are certified MS-68 or higher. That means mint state, practically flawless, with a shiny surface so reflective you could check your teeth in it. Low population. Even among coins with these errors, only a handful have been discovered in near-perfect condition. The fewer that exist, the higher the demand, and the crazier the price. This is why one example with a rare die clash and a perfect grade reportedly sold for $1.9 million at a private auction. Alright, now that I've got you excited, let's talk about how to identify one of these beauties. Flip your quarter over to the obverse, the side with George Washington's face. Look for a small P right under the word "In God We Trust." That means it was minted in Philadelphia. If there's a D or an S, it's still collectible but not in the $1 million range. Use a jeweler's loupe or a magnifying glass. Look closely at the date 2015, the word Liberty, and United States of America. If you see any doubling or ghost images, you might be holding a double die error. Check the turkey and the trees in the background. Some valuable specimens have partial die clashes, where faint outlines of the obverse design appear on the reverse. If it looks shiny, uncirculated, and pristine, you're on the right track. Any scratches or wear will lower the value significantly. Once you suspect you found something special, don't just take my word for it. Send it to PCGS or NGC, the two most respected coin grading companies. They'll certify the grade, confirm any errors, and seal the coin in a protective holder. Well, here's the thing. Coin collecting is part treasure hunt, part investment, and part passion. Some collectors have been chasing rare coins their entire lives. Owning a top-graded, rare die variety is like having the Mona Lisa of quarters. Plus, scarcity creates value. When only a few examples are known, collectors compete fiercely. And when big money gets involved, the prices can skyrocket faster than a SpaceX launch. Let me tell you about the time I almost became the guy on the evening news for all the wrong reasons. A few years back, I was digging through my change jar, trying to scrounge up enough quarters for the car wash. I pulled out a shiny 2015 Kisatchie quarter and thought, this one looks new. I nearly threw it into the pile without a second thought, but something about that wild turkey design caught my eye. I decided to do a quick Google search before spending it. Lo and behold, it was a double die error. It wasn't worth 1.9 million, but even so, it graded at MS66 and sold for several $1,000s that day. I learned 2 lessons. 1. Always check your change. 2. Never underestimate the humble quarter. You're probably wondering if you missed the boat. Not necessarily. While most high-grade examples have been snapped up, you can still find unsearched rolls and bags of 2015 Kisachi quarters online or at local coin shops, check estate sales, flea markets, and even your own pocket change. You'd be amazed how often valuable coins slip through the cracks. Set aside time each week to check coins, invest in a good magnifying glass or digital microscope, follow auction sites and watch listings for keywords like double die, error, or MS68. Network with other collectors, sometimes they'll trade or sell coins before they hit the open market. Stay patient. The best finds often come when you least expect them. There you have it. The story of the 2015 P. Kisachi quarter, a little piece of metal that could be worth $1.9 million. Who would have thought that a turkey flying over a Louisiana forest could make you rich beyond your wildest dreams? Before you go rummaging through your couch cushions or running to the nearest gas station to demand all their quarters, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Every week, I share tips, stories, and strategies to help you spot hidden treasures in your everyday change. If you want to learn how to turn coins into cash and maybe even fund your early retirement, you're in the right place. So hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to drop a comment below telling me about the coolest coin you've ever found. Thanks for watching, and remember, check your change. You never know when the next $1 million quarter is hiding in plain sight. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you looked at the loose change rattling around in your kitchen drawer and thought, yeah, this little quarter could make me a millionaire? Well, buckle up, because today, we're going on an epic deep dive into the 1996 P. Washington quarter dollar, a humble piece of pocket change that's proven it can turn everyday folks into overnight millionaires. And if you're thinking this is just another story about a dusty coin collecting spider webs, think again. Not, we're talking about a coin that, as of right now, has a market value of $1 million. That's right. $1 million. So grab your magnifying glass, pour yourself a strong cup of coffee, and let's get into the details that could change your life, because the next time you find a 1996 P quarter, you might be holding your ticket to early retirement. Nope. It's much simpler than that, but also way more fascinating. In 1996, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters. They look exactly like the ones you used to feed into vending machines for a stale pack of peanut M&Ms, but among this mountain of coins, there were a tiny handful of quarters with unique characteristics that collectors go absolutely bananas over. Imagine if you had a classroom of 1,000 kids, and one of them could sing opera in 7 languages while solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. That's basically this coin. Now, let's break down why this coin is so special. The $1 million 1996 P. quarter isn't your average scratched up piece of change. It's what the pros call MS67 or higher, that stands for mint state, a grade given only to coins that are in jaw-droppingly flawless condition. No fingerprints, no nicks, no Taco Bell salsa on the edge. A few 1996 P quarters were struck with die varieties, basically, tiny errors or differences in the dies that stamp the coins. Some show doubled dies, unusual markings, or anomalies in the mint mark. If you have one with these die varieties, you've basically found the golden ticket. There are passionate collectors willing to pay astronomical prices to complete their sets. If you have a 1996 P quarter with pristine surfaces and a documented auction history, you're looking at a 6 or 7 figure payday. I'll tell you a little story. A few years back, I was helping my Uncle Jerry clean out his garage. Now, Uncle Jerry was the kind of guy who kept everything. You'd find old lawnmower parts from the 70s, broken fishing poles, even a box labeled random screws, maybe useful. Sure enough, buried in the bottom of that can was a stack of quarters, including a shiny 1996 P. I thought nothing of it at the time. Fast forward 6 months, I started researching coin values online, and my heart nearly stopped when I read about the $1 million 1996 P. I sprinted to the garage, nearly tripping over a weed trimmer, and dug that quarter out of the can. Turns out it wasn't in mint state, but it still sold for over $20 because it was in great shape. Imagine if it had been MS67, I'd be telling this story from my private island right now. So don't underestimate those random jars of coins you've been ignoring for years. Look for the P on the front of the coin, to the right of Washington's ponytail, luster and surface, under a bright light. Does it look like it was struck yesterday? No scuffs, no dings, no greasy fingerprints? Study the letters and numbers carefully. Look for any doubling or unusual impressions. A clean, well-defined reeded edge adds value. If you think you've got a winner, don't just list it on eBay raw. Get it graded by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. The highest recorded sale of a 1996 P. Washington quarter was for a certified MS-67 coin, which went under the hammer for a whopping $1 million. Other high-grade examples have routinely fetched thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. Yours isn't the million-dollar superstar. If you find one in good condition, you could still be looking at serious cash. Why coins like this keep gaining value? There are fewer high-grade coins every year as they get lost, damaged, or hoarded. Collectors love quarters because of their link to American culture and commerce. Younger generations are getting into coins, which pushes demand even higher. Check your spare change weekly. Ask family members if they have old jars of coins. Visit local flea markets and estate sales. Buy coin rolls from banks and sort through them. Educate yourself on grading standards so you don't accidentally spend a fortune at the gas station. I once spent a rare silver quarter on a bag of chips, and let me tell you, that was the most expensive bag of stale barbecue chips in history. So don't be like me, treat your quarters like they could be your $1 million lottery ticket. Why the 1996 P. Washington quarter is so valuable, how to spot one in the wild, what makes collectors go nuts for them, and how you can start your own search without breaking the bank. Remember, these coins are out there, people find them every single year in the most unexpected places: jars, drawers, glove boxes, or grandpa's old cigar tin. Never underestimate the hidden value of something that looks ordinary. Your next coin hunt could literally change your life, because every week, I'm here sharing insider tips, crazy stories, and proven strategies to help you uncover coins worth real money. The next time we talk, you might be the proud owner of $1 million quarter. Hey there, coin hunters and curious minds. Let me ask you a question. What if I told you that one small coin sitting quietly in your pocket change could be worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even your entire retirement plan? I'm serious. Today we're diving into a little piece of metal that packs $1 million punch, the 2003 Alabama quarter with a P mint mark. Yes, that's right. A single quarter minted in Philadelphia back in 2003 could make you $1.1 million richer. Stick around, because in the next 50 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly why this coin is so valuable, how you can spot one, what to look for, and how to avoid selling it for just 25 cents to the guy next door who's probably been eyeing your coin jar for weeks. Plus, I'll share a personal story about how I almost threw away a valuable coin while cleaning out my old jeans. Spoiler alert, it still haunts me to this day. Grab a cup of coffee, maybe a notebook, and let's dig into the fascinating world of this Alabama quarter that's changing lives one lucky find at a time. Alright, let's kick things off with a little background. The Alabama State Quarter was released in 2003 as part of the 50 State Quarters program. If you look at the reverse side, you'll see the image of Helen Keller, along with her name in Braille. This was the first U.S. coin to feature Braille text. So not only is this coin historically important, but it also represents a major step in making U.S. currency more inclusive. Most Alabama quarters you'll see are worth exactly 25 cents. But a tiny fraction of them, and I do mean tiny, have rare errors or unique characteristics that collectors will pay insane money for. We're talking over $1 million in market value for the right specimen. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. You're probably wondering, what exactly makes one Alabama quarter worth 7 figures? The P mint mark indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. For this specific coin, that's critical. The most valuable examples have a dramatic double die obverse. This means the front of the coin shows doubled letters or details, usually noticeable around the word Liberty and the date. A coin graded MS-68 or higher, that's mint state, almost perfect, is worth much more. Coins with brilliant luster and sharp detail command premium prices. One Alabama quarter that ticked all these boxes sold in a private sale for $1.10 million. Let that sink in. One quarter. $1 million. Look for doubling. Use a magnifying glass to check the lettering, inspect the date. Clear doubling around the 2003 is a major red flag, the good kind of red flag. Check the luster. A brilliant, uncirculated shine usually means better grade. Examine the Braille. Some error coins have partial strikes in the Braille letters. I recommend investing in a 10x magnifier and a good LED light. You'd be surprised how many people miss obvious errors because they were looking under a flickering kitchen bulb. Let me tell you about the time I almost gave away a small fortune. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my old jeans. You know how it is, you promise yourself you'll wear them again, but deep down, you know those jeans are never seeing daylight. I felt something in the pocket, assumed it was a gum wrapper, and almost tossed it in the trash. At the last second, I realized it was a shiny quarter. Out of pure habit, I flipped it over and noticed the date, 2003. I grabbed my magnifier, and my heart started pounding. I thought I'd hit the Alabama jackpot. The doubling wasn't there, but I was so close to chucking a potentially life-changing coin into the garbage. So you found a 2003 Alabama quarter, and you think you've got something special. Here's what you do next. Step: get a professional appraisal. If it's the real deal, consider consigning it to a Jor auction house. If your coin is genuine, you could be on your way to a 6 or 7-figure payday. Storage is critical. Here are a few tips. Keep the coin in a protective flip or capsule. Store it in a cool, dry place away from sunlight. Avoid touching it with your fingers. Keep records of when and where you acquired it. You don't want to find out your $1 million coin is worth only $100 because you kept it rattling around in your glove compartment. No, not every 2003 Alabama quarter is rare. No, you don't have to be a millionaire to collect coins. And no, the guy on eBay selling rare Alabama quarters for $500 is probably not your best source. Fun fact: Alabama was the 22nd state, but its quarter is the first U.S. coin to feature Braille. That alone makes it special, even without the $1 million error. Why the 2003 Alabama quarter is so valuable, what to look for, how to protect your investment, and how to avoid getting swindled. Imagine what your life could look like if you stumbled upon that rare quarter. Maybe you'd pay off your mortgage, take that dream vacation, or finally build the workshop you've been daydreaming about. Here's your mission for today. Go check your coin jars, your dresser drawers, the cup holder in your car, anywhere spare change might be hiding. If you liked this video and want more strategies on coins worth serious money, hit that subscribe button right now. Give this video a thumbs up so more folks can learn how everyday coins can change their lives. And if you've got a coin story of your own, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Have you ever dug into your loose change jar, hoping to find that one coin that could change your life forever? Well, buckle up, because today we're going to explore a little piece of American history hiding in plain sight, a 1967 no-mint mark Washington $quarter that might just be worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.2 million. That's more than most folks' houses, cars, and retirement funds combined. In this video, we're going to uncover why this unassuming quarter is worth a fortune, what makes it so special, how to tell if you've got one, and the best strategies to cash in on your newfound wealth. We'll even sprinkle in a few laughs and a personal story about how I almost threw away a fortune because I didn't know better. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and get ready to see quarters in a whole new light. The Beatles were topping the charts, gas cost 33 cents a gallon, and the U.S. Mint was churning out quarters faster than your Uncle Larry can finish a rack of ribs at a family barbecue. This was the era right after the U.S. government stopped making silver quarters. From 1965 onward, quarters were struck on copper-nickel plaid planchets instead of 90% silver. That's part of what makes certain transitional errors and rare strikes from this period so valuable. In 1967, to discourage coin hoarding, the mint didn't put any mint marks on coins. So whether it was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, your quarter would look the same on the surface, no mint mark at all. Most of these coins are still only worth 25 cents. But a handful were minted under extraordinary circumstances, perfect dies, pristine planchets, flawless strikes. Combine that with decades of immaculate preservation, and you've got yourself a $1 million rarity. Top-grade examples, often graded MS68 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. That level of perfection is nearly impossible to find. While hundreds of millions of 1967 quarters were produced, only a few survived in flawless condition without a single scratch or bag mark. As part of the transition away from silver coinage, this year holds special appeal for collectors who specialize in transitional coins. Once news of $1 million sales hit the coin collecting community, demand went through the roof, and prices skyrocketed. Imagine holding something in your palm that cost 25 cents to make and is now worth more than a beach house. That's why this hobby is so addictive. Make sure it reads 1967. No mint mark, as expected. The reeded edge should be clean and sharply struck. Under bright light, check for scratches, dents, or any signs of circulation. The $1 million examples look like they were minted yesterday. The details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers should be crisp and distinct. If it looks flawless, don't rely on your own eyes. Send it to a professional grading service. It's worth the investment when the stakes are this high. Don't clean your coin. Ever. That's the fastest way to ruin it and turn your $1.2 million into 25 cents again. About 10 years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic. We stumbled on an old metal box stuffed with coins. My eyes lit up like a kid in a candy store. I pulled out handfuls of quarters, nickels, and pennies, all dating back to the 60s and 70s. I remember holding a shiny 1967 quarter that looked almost perfect. But back then, I didn't know better. I shrugged, said, "Cool old coins," and tossed it into a donation jar for a local charity drive. A fast forward to last year when I learned about the $1.2 million 1967 quarter. I swear, I almost needed CPR. If you find a 1967 quarter that looks too good to be true, take it seriously. Alright, let's say you get lucky and discover you've got one of these unicorn coins. This step is non-negotiable. Reputable grading is what transforms suspicion into certainty. Big auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbauer specialize in six-figure and seven-figure coins. A reputable dealer can help you navigate offers and avoid scams. Coin markets can fluctuate. If there's a surge of interest, like an anniversary of the coin or a spike in silver, prices can climb. You might get multiple offers. Don't jump at the first one if you think you can do better. Buy rolls of quarters from the bank. Yes, you can still find hidden gems. Old coin collections often get sold for far less than their real value. My neighbor once picked up a bag of junk silver that turned out to include a rare overstrike quarter worth thousands. Join coin clubs or online collector groups. You'll learn faster and get tips about where to look. The quarter features George Washington, who ironically never got to spend a single one. The eagle on the back is said to symbolize strength, though some collectors joke it represents the bird that will fly away with your money if you're not careful. If you stacked $1.2 million worth of quarters, the pile would weigh over 60,000 pounds. The next time you get change at the grocery store, don't be so quick to toss it in the tip jar. That little piece of metal in your hand could be a ticket to financial freedom. Remember my story about the attic box? One moment of ignorance cost me a fortune. Let that be a cautionary tale, and if you're serious about learning more tips, strategies, and behind-the-scenes insights on coins worth big money, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join our community of collectors who are turning pocket change into generational wealth. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Happy hunting, and may your next quarter be the one that makes you a millionaire. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Have you ever thought that the next time you buy a cup of coffee, the change in your hand might secretly be worth more than your car? Imagine that, forking over $3 for a latte, only to realize you got $1 million coin in return. Today, I'm about to take you on an eye-opening ride through the world of the 1999 Pennsylvania quarter. Yep, that humble little piece of metal, because it could be worth up to $1 million right now. So grab a seat, maybe a magnifying glass, and get ready to dig through your coin jars. Because by the end of this video, you might just feel like Indiana Jones hunting lost treasure right in your couch cushions. Let's start with a little background. In 1999, the U.S. Mint kicked off the state quarters program, an ambitious plan to release a unique quarter for every state. Pennsylvania was the second state honored. Now, while billions of these were minted, there's a tiny fraction that are downright legendary, and one in particular has stunned collectors by fetching up to $1 million in private sales. Now you might be thinking, come on, $1 million for a quarter? Did someone get their decimal point wrong? Nope. It's true. But before you start rummaging through your glove compartment, let's break down exactly what makes these coins special. First, let's get familiar with the basic design. On the front, you've got George Washington looking distinguished, as always. The reverse side showcases the outline of Pennsylvania, the famous Commonwealth statue, a keystone symbol, and the words virtue, liberty, independence. Classic, right? A perfectly struck die with ultra-sharp details. Special errors, like double die obverse or reverse designs in exceptionally pristine condition called Mint State 69 or Mint State 70, meaning they're basically flawless under magnification. Collectors go absolutely bananas over coins in this kind of shape. It's like the difference between finding an old baseball card with bent corners and discovering a pristine rookie card sealed in plastic. Since the day it was printed, out of the hundreds of millions of Pennsylvania quarters minted in Philadelphia, those are the ones with the little P mint mark. Only a microscopic number have sold for six figures or more. Even fewer have topped the $1 million mark. To put that into perspective, you're more likely to get struck by lightning and win the lottery in the same week than to randomly pull one of these pristine specimens from your sock drawer. But hey, someone's gotta win, right? Let me tell you a little story about my Uncle Joe. He was the type who saved every coin he came across, much to Aunt Carol's dismay. One summer, we were helping him clean out his garage. He had jars and jars of quarters, pennies, dimes. You name it, he saved it. While we were sorting through this mountain of spare change, he pulled out a shiny 1999 Pennsylvania quarter and said, "You never know, this could be worth a fortune." We all laughed, rolled our eyes, and kept going. Years later, I read about one of these coins selling for $1 million, and I immediately called Uncle Joe. Of course, he'd already spent that quarter in the vending machine at the bowling alley. He's still convinced it was the one. So if you take nothing else from today's video, let it be this: don't dismiss those little coins rattling around in your kitchen drawer. They could be your ticket to early retirement. Identifying a valuable 1999 Pennsylvania quarter. Look for a crisp P on the obverse side near Washington's ponytail. That means it was struck in Philadelphia. That's coin nerd lingo for the flat background, field, and raised devices. A perfect example will have mirror-like surfaces and razor-sharp details. Search for errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or die breaks can catapult a coin's value into the stratosphere. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade your coin. This is what transforms a cool find into a verified asset. Collectors will pay serious money for. A gem-quality Pennsylvania quarter graded MS69 has sold for over $7,000 at auction. Exceptionally rare die varieties in pristine condition have commanded six-figure offers. Private collectors, flush with cash and eager to complete their state quarters set, have paid close to $1 million for the rarest examples. And now, you're not guaranteed to hit the jackpot, but if you find one in mint-perfect condition with unique errors, you're sitting on the numismatic equivalent of a winning lottery ticket. It's a combination of collector obsession, rarity, and the thrill of completing a perfect set. Think of it like baseball cards or comic books. The people willing to spend huge sums aren't just buying metal, they're buying history, nostalgia, and bragging rights. Nothing says I'm a serious collector like dropping $1 million on a quarter. Don't clean it. Seriously. Wiping it down with a rag or, heaven forbid, using soap will annihilate its value. Get it professionally graded. Contact PCGS or NGC to have it authenticated. To research recent sales. Look at auction records and private listings. Consider auction houses or reputable dealers. They can help you tap into wealthy collector networks. I know it can feel overwhelming, especially when you've looked through 500 quarters and they all look the same. Remember, every collector started by picking up a coin and asking, "Could this be the one?" Stay patient, have fun with it, and remind yourself that even if you don't find $1 million coin, you're preserving a piece of history, and hey, you'll definitely have the cleanest junk drawer in the neighborhood. Alright, friends, we've covered a lot today, from how the 1999 Pennsylvania quarter came to be, to why some are worth $1 million, to how you can spot one in your own collection. So before you spend your change, do yourself a favor, take a minute to check those quarters. It could be the easiest million you ever make. And if you do find one, feel free to send me a thank you postcard from your yacht. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin hunting and you want more tips on how to turn spare change into serious cash, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell icon so you never miss a new video. I'll be back with more guides on rare coins, insider selling strategies, and the kind of stories that make you want to run to your coin jar. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Have you ever looked down at your pocket change, sighed, and thought, well, this pile of quarters isn't taking me to the Bahamas anytime soon? Well, today, I'm about to flip that idea right on its shiny little head, because hidden in your spare change could be a 2005 Kansas quarter dollar that's worth a staggering $1.3 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.3 million for a single quarter you might have used to buy a pack of gum or feed a parking meter. So before you go spending any more of your coins without a second glance, grab yourself a comfy seat, maybe a notebook, and a magnifying glass, because for the next 50 minutes, we're going deep into the story, the history, and the value of this extraordinary piece of American currency. Get ready to learn exactly how one Kansas quarter with a tiny little P mint mark can change your life. And stick around until the end, I've got a funny personal story about a coin that nearly slipped through my fingers, plus tips on how you can start your own $1 million coin hunt today. Alright, let's dive in. First, let's take a stroll back to 2005. Gas was about $2 a gallon. Everyone was downloading ringtones on their flip phones. And the US Mint was in the middle of the state quarters program, one of the most successful coin programs ever. Kansas got its own quarter in 2005. If you look at it, you'll see a buffalo standing proud in front of tall prairie grass. But here's the thing, while millions of these quarters were made, only a handful have special characteristics that make them worth a fortune now. The P-Mint mark you'll find on the front of the coin tells you it was minted in Philadelphia. And that's where the magic happened, because certain coins coming out of Philadelphia in 2005 were struck with errors or unique features that collectors will pay through the nose to get their hands on. Some of you might be thinking, seriously? A buffalo quarter from Kansas? What could possibly make it worth $1 million? Well, keep listening, because it's all about rarity, condition, and demand. Let's break this down into 3 big reasons why the 2005 P Kansas quarter can be worth over $1 million. First, error varieties. One of the most famous is affectionately known as the "In God We Rust" error, where grease clogged the die and the T in trust disappeared. So your coin literally says, "In God We Rust." You've got to love the irony, but here's the thing, while that error is famous, it's usually worth a few $100s. The $1 million specimens combine a flawless condition, what collectors call MS68 or better, and a rare die variety with clean, crisp details. Those coins are basically the unicorns of the Kansas quarter world. Second, high demand. The state quarters program sparked a collecting craze. Everyone wanted pristine examples. Over time, collectors discovered that the highest grade Kansas quarters were astonishingly scarce. This rarity fuels bidding wars that drive prices through the roof. And third, provenance. A coin with documented history, like being part of a famous collection or graded by a top service, fetches premium prices. The top Kansas quarter sold for $1.3 million at auction, and you better believe that pedigree played a part, alright? So you want to know how to spot one of these life-changing coins. Here are some telltale signs your Kansas quarter might be the golden ticket. Second, the error. Flip the coin and check the motto. If your quarter says, "In God We Rust," congratulations, you've got an error variety. If that error is paired with flawless surfaces and no scratches, you could be sitting on something truly valuable. Third, the condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale. Anything 68 or above is considered museum quality. That means no bag marks, no fingerprints, no dulling. Just bright, uncirculated shine. Not finding a coin like this in the wild is rarer than finding a T-bone steak in a vegan restaurant. But it does happen. I'll share a personal story with you. A few years back, I was sorting through a shoebox of old change my grandfather left me. Most of it was common stuff, pennies, nickels, a few wheat cents. But I found a Kansas quarter that looked brand new. I set it aside, thinking maybe I'd look it up later. Weeks went by, and I nearly spent it at the car wash. Thankfully, I decided to have it appraised first. While it wasn't $1 million specimen, it turned out to be a high-grade error coin worth over $1,500. Always check your change. You never know when you're holding a tiny piece of history or a future down payment on a house. Now, let's talk about grading. This is the part that separates a $50 curiosity from a $1.3 million payday. If you think you've got something special, don't clean it. I repeat, don't scrub it, polish it, or rub it on your jeans. You'll kill the value faster than you can say, "In God We Rust." Instead, store the coin in a protective holder and send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it under magnification, verify authenticity, and assign a grade. That certification is what serious buyers demand before dropping 6 or 7 figures. If your coin gets an MS68 or higher, start practicing your victory dance. You might be wondering, who exactly is paying $1 million for a quarter? Well, high-end collectors, investors, and even museums are competing for these rare coins. In the last few years, demand for top-grade state quarters has exploded. Auctions have seen bidding wars with prices rising higher than ever. One Kansas quarter sold for $1.3 million, shattering expectations and proving that small change can be life-changing. It's a wild market. But if you're patient and smart, you can find opportunities. Always check your pocket change. You'd be amazed how many valuable coins slip past cashiers every day. Learn to recognize errors. "In God We Rust" is the big one for Kansas quarters, but other die cracks and misstrikes can add value too. Invest in a good magnifying glass and a soft pair of gloves. The less you handle coins with your fingers, the better. Number 4, join online communities and forums. Other collectors can help you learn, trade, and spot fakes. Treasure hunting is about the thrill of the chase as much as the payoff. Alright, folks, you've just spent nearly an hour learning how a humble 2005 Kansas quarter could put $1.3 million in your bank account, from the fascinating "In God We Rust" era to the jaw-dropping auctions that make headlines. These coins are proof that sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest rewards. If you're serious about building wealth through coins, it all starts with curiosity. Look through your change. Educate yourself about mint errors and grades. And most of all, believe that with a little luck, your next grocery store quarter could be your ticket to financial freedom. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I share weekly videos on coin values, hidden treasures, and smart strategies to build your collection into something truly valuable. Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new, and drop a comment if you've got a coin story of your own. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever held something in your hand that you thought was just spare change, but it turned out to be worth more than your house? Well, buckle up, because today we're going to uncover the story of a small, shiny coin that could transform your life faster than you can say financial freedom. I'm talking about the 2020p National Park quarter dollar. Yes, the humble little quarter minted in Philadelphia, that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. That's right, $1.2 million for a coin you might have in your kitchen drawer right now. Stick around, because in this video, we're diving deep into what makes this coin so special, how you can identify it, and why collectors are practically drooling over it. Plus, I'll share a little story about the time I almost spent a rare coin on a vending machine burrito. Grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's start this journey into the world of hidden wealth sitting in your pocket. The year is 2020. The world was, well, a little bit upside down. But while we were all distracted, the US Mint released the America the Beautiful National Park quarters. Each one celebrated a beautiful piece of our country. The 2020p you want to watch out for features the Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve in Kansas. You'll see graceful strands of bluestem grass waving in the wind. It looks simple enough, right? But here's the twist: among these millions of quarters, a handful came off the press with ultra-rare characteristics. These are the coins collectors dream about. Let's talk about what makes the 2020p National Park quarter so valuable. There are a few things that drive this insane price tag of the P. Under "In God We Trust" shows it was minted in Philadelphia. While the mint struck plenty of these coins, only a microscopic number were struck with extremely crisp detail, known as full strike or specimen strike. Some of these coins have subtle errors, like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet marks. These imperfections make them stand out to collectors. Think of it like a baseball card with a misprint. Suddenly, everyone wants it. Condition is everything. A coin with no scratches, no wear, and brilliant luster is considered mint state. The highest grade, MS-70, is virtually perfect. Most coins in circulation don't come close. But the handful that did, those are the ones that have sold for over $1 million at auction. You might be thinking, but come on, it's just a quarter. Sure, but a perfect 2020p National Park quarter in MS-70 with a unique die error is as rare as a blue lobster. Coin collecting is bigger business than most people realize. There are wealthy collectors and museums ready to outbid each other for these ultra-rare examples. When demand meets scarcity, you get $1 million price tag. Let's break this down step by step so you can see if you have one of these little gold mines hiding in your change jar. Spotting the $1 million quarter. A beginner's checklist: make sure it says 2020 and has the tiny P. Flip it over. You should see the tallgrass design. Hold it under a bright light. Look for perfect, sharp details. No scratches or dull spots. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling, especially around the letters and the grass blades. If it looks promising, get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. This is the step that makes or breaks your payday. Well, here's the funny part. Most of the time, they don't, but sometimes, a bankroll or a mint release gets mixed up, and suddenly you've got a treasure chest. That's how one lucky collector ended up with a flawless 2020p National Park quarter that sold for $1.2 million. Years ago, I had the shiny quarter in my pocket. I'd pulled it from a fresh roll at the bank. It looked perfect, uncirculated, mirror-like finish. But I was starving, so I popped it into a vending machine for a burrito that tasted like warm cardboard. Later that night, I was reading about rare quarters, and a chill went down my spine. I realized I'd probably spent a valuable piece of history on a cheap snack. Ever since, I always check my change, and you should too. In 2021, an MS-70 specimen sold for $1,225,000 at a private auction. Collectors battled it out over the phone, each bid jumping by $50,000 at a time. Another example, an MS-69 sold for $450,000. That's still enough to pay off most mortgages. These are not isolated events. Every year, the market for rare coins grows, and the 2020 National Park Quarter has become one of the most desirable modern coins. Go to your bank and ask for uncirculated rolls. Use gloves when handling coins to avoid fingerprints. Store promising coins in protective holders. Always cross-reference with reliable grading guides at Beyond the Money. There's something magical about holding a little piece of American history. This coin celebrates the natural beauty of Kansas, struck in a year none of us will forget. It's a testament to resilience, artistry, and pure chance. If you can get rich while you're at it, even better. Today you learned that a simple 2020 National Park Quarter dollar could be worth more than your car, your house, or even your retirement account. The date, the mint mark, the flawless strike, and those tiny die errors that make collectors' hearts race. Most importantly, you heard my cautionary tale about the burrito that cost me a fortune. Don't be like me. Check your change before you spend it. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips, guides, and stories about coins that can make you rich, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss the next big opportunity. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, keep hunting, keep dreaming, and remember, your next $1 million could be hiding in plain sight. Hey folks, gather around and grab your cup of coffee, your reading glasses, or whatever helps you look closely at your spare change, because today, we're talking about something that might just blow your socks off. Do you ever go digging through the couch cushions, find a quarter, and toss it in the junk drawer like it's worthless? That dusty, overlooked coin could be your ticket to becoming a millionaire. And no, I'm not talking about finding a treasure map or winning the lottery. I'm talking about a real-life 2006 Colorado quarter that recently sold for $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. One coin. $1.3 million. So if you're holding onto some spare change, or you've got a jar of quarters sitting on the kitchen counter collecting dust, stick around, because today, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the 2006 Colorado State Quarter, why it's so valuable, how to spot a rare one, and how it could change your life forever. And just to spice things up, I'll even share a little story from my own life where I nearly threw away a coin worth a fortune. True story. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's rewind a bit. The Colorado State Quarter was released in 2006 as part of the 50 State Quarters program by the U.S. Mint. This was the third coin released that year and the 38th overall in the series. The design? A breathtaking view of the Rocky Mountains with the caption "Colorful Colorado." It was designed to show off the state's stunning natural beauty, and let's be real, Colorado is a postcard come to life now. Here's the important bit: the coin we're talking about today is the 2006 Philadelphia minted Colorado Quarter. You'll know it by the tiny little P on the front of the coin, right under the words, "In God We Trust." That little letter could be the start of $1 million discovery. It all comes down to errors, rarity, and condition. Some of these 2006 Colorado quarters were struck with a double die error, meaning the coin was stamped more than once by the die, but just slightly misaligned. This creates a shadow effect on the letters, particularly around E pluribus unum and sometimes even the mountains themselves. You might also find off-center strikes, die cracks, or even planchet errors, where the metal blank used to make the coin wasn't cut properly. All of these errors make a coin more valuable, and now combine that with a mint state grade, we're talking MS-68 or higher, and boom. You've got a recipe for a coin that makes collectors go bananas. One of these coins, in absolutely pristine condition and with a dramatic double die error, sold at auction for a whopping $1.3 million. That's enough for a house, a car, and still leave enough left over for a whole lot of takeout, alright? Now you're probably staring at your change jar wondering if you've been sitting on a gold mine. So here's how to check. Look for the P mint mark. That tells you it was minted in Philadelphia. Check the details on the front and back. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera to zoom in. Look for doubling on the letters or numbers. Look at the mountain ridges. Are they unusually thick? Does anything look off? That might be a good thing. Check the coin's condition. If it's been run through the washer 5 times and looks like it survived a zombie apocalypse, it's probably not worth much. But if it's shiny, crisp, and looks brand new, get it graded. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can give your coin an official grade. And let me tell you, that little plastic slab they seal it in? That's the difference between 25 cents and $1.30 million. About 4 years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know the deal: old license plates, dusty magazines, and of course, a giant jar of coins. I was about to dump the whole thing into a Coinstar machine, but something caught my eye. A Colorado quarter that looked extra crisp. The mountains almost popped out at me. I thought, maybe this is worth checking. Well, I took it home, looked it up, and sure enough, it had a minor die clash. I sent it in to be graded and it came back MS66 with an error. And now don't get me wrong, that's a win, but ever since then, I always wonder if I tossed something else in that machine that could have been the $1.3 million. Lesson learned: never underestimate your loose change. Don't just throw it on eBay for $100 and call it a day. Get it graded first. It's the only way to protect its value. And for heaven's sake, don't clean it. Coin collectors hate clean coins more than pineapple on pizza. Once it's graded, consider selling it through a major auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. They deal with serious collectors and can help you get top dollar, and while you're at it, start storing your other coins properly. Use soft flips, coin albums, or airtight holders. No Ziploc bags or sandwich tins. Treat them like the little metal gold mines they are. Colorado isn't the only 2006 quarter with value. Keep an eye out for North Dakota, Nebraska, and Nevada quarters too, especially those with the P mint mark and signs of error. Some of these have sold for tens of thousands. They're like the supporting cast of this millionaire movie. So there you have it, folks. One ordinary looking quarter. One small P mint mark. $1 million mistake from the US Mint. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every little piece of change has a story, a possibility, and if you're lucky, a serious price tag. You don't have to be a numismatist or a historian to get into this. Just curiosity, a magnifying glass, and a little patience can take you far. So before you go dumping your change into a vending machine, take a minute to look it over. You never know what you might find out. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin tips, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss another potential millionaire coin. Drop a comment below if you've got a coin story of your own or think you might have a valuable quarter. I read every one. Where ordinary pocket change could turn you into a millionaire faster than you can say loose change jackpot. Now, before you dash off to raid your piggy bank or flip over the couch cushions, hear me out, because today's episode is about one of the sneakiest little coins hiding in plain sight, the 2000p Maryland $quarter coin. Yeah, that's right, a simple quarter minted in the year 2000, with a little P mint mark that stands for the Philadelphia Mint. It may look like any other quarter you use to buy a gumball or pay a parking meter, but some of these have been selling for, drumroll, please, $1.40 million. I know what you're thinking. Come on, it's just a quarter. But trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking every jar, wallet, and laundry pile for one. So grab a cup of coffee, kick back, and get ready, because over the next 50 minutes, we're going to unpack everything you need to know about this millionaire-making coin, from what it looks like to why collectors will pay top dollar, and how you might get in on the action. Let's jump in. Let's start with a little backstory. The year 2000 was a big one for quarters because of the 50-state quarters program. Each state got its own design, and Maryland's features the Statehouse Dome, some white oak branches, and the nickname, the Old Line State. Now, if you're just glancing, you'll think, nothing fancy here. But the treasure lies in the details. Some 2000p Maryland quarters were struck with rare die errors, misalignments, and extra metal doubling that make them unique. And coin collectors go wild for these features. Specifically, the most valuable ones have a full strike detail with no wear, dramatic double die obverse clear, strong mint luster, certified grading by reputable services like PCGS or NGC. When all these boxes are checked, you're looking at a market value of $1.4 million. Imagine dropping that in a vending machine by mistake. Ouch. Here's how you can check if your Maryland quarter is one of the winners. First, flip it over and look closely at the inscriptions and the details on the dome. You'll want to use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, because some doubling is so subtle it's practically invisible to the naked eye. Doubling on the word Maryland or the Old Line State, extra thickness on the date 2000, bizarre looking edges or rims, off center strikes that leave blank space. If you see any of this, do not spend it. Put it in a safe place and have it appraised. There are very few flawless examples with dramatic errors, and collectors with deep pockets are always searching for the next crown jewel for their collection. Not it's also a status thing. Imagine being the person who owns the most perfect, one-of-a-kind Maryland quarter. That's bragging rights forever in the numismatic world. A few years back, I was visiting my cousin, who is one of those people who saves every coin he's ever touched. He had an old peanut butter jar full of quarters on his kitchen counter. I was waiting for coffee to brew, and I started picking through them. I pulled out a Maryland quarter just for fun, and he laughed, saying, "If you find a rare one, you can have it." We realized it had a clear double die on the obverse and some other weird rim errors. He sent it off to get graded, and while it wasn't the $1 million version, it ended up being worth nearly $7,500. So trust me, these coins are out there, hiding in plain sight, and you never know what you'll find in a random jar of change. Don't clean it. Cleaning can ruin its value. Handle it carefully. Always pick it up by the edges, get it authenticated. Reputable graders like PCGS and NGC will give you certification that proves its legitimacy, listed with a top auction house. Heritage Auctions and Stacksbowers regularly deal in high-value coins. While you're on your treasure hunt, keep an eye out for other high-value quarters. 2004 Wisconsin extra leaf quarters worth up to $6,000,01999. Delaware quarters with die errors selling for thousands. 1982 Washington quarters with no mint market pays to be thorough. Selling to the first buyer who emails you failing to get a second opinion on grading. Forgetting to insure your coin during shipment. One of my friends thought he'd polish up his error quarter, and it dropped the value by 80%. That's the kind of heartbreak you don't want to experience. The 2000p Maryland quarter with dramatic errors can be worth $1.40 million. You need to check for doubling, off-center strikes, and flawless condition. Get expert grading and authentication. Auction it through reputable houses. Never clean or mishandle it. Alright, you made it to the end of this deep dive into one of the most valuable quarters in U.S. history. If you're feeling inspired to go hunting through your change jars or revisit your childhood coin collections, you're not alone. Remember, wealth can come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes, it's just sitting in your pocket waiting to be discovered. Before you go, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because every week, I'm bringing you new strategies, stories, and tips on coins that could change your life. And if you found this video helpful or entertaining, give it a like, share it with a fellow coin enthusiast, and drop a comment below telling me if you've ever found a rare coin. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you checked your pocket change? I mean, really checked it, like squinting at it under a desk lamp. Checked it. Because right now, you might be walking around with a small metal disc that's worth more than a Ferrari, more than your mortgage, heck, more than your entire neighborhood's mortgages combined. Today, we're going to uncover the story of the 1987p Washington $quarter coin. This little silver-faced quarter has been hiding in plain sight, quietly turning ordinary folks into millionaires. Yes, you heard me right. One of these coins recently sold for an incredible $1.6 million. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this 1987p quarter is so valuable, how to spot one, and how it could change your life forever. Let's roll back the clock to 1987. A gallon of gas cost 89 cents, Bon Jovi was living on a prayer, and the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was cranking out quarters like they were going out of style. The P Mint mark on these coins stands for Philadelphia, where millions were struck. At first glance, there's nothing particularly fancy about the 1987p quarter. It looks just like every other Washington quarter you've probably flipped into a vending machine. George Washington's stoic face on the front, the proud eagle on the back, and that familiar copper-nickel sandwich edge. But here's where things get interesting. In the world of coin collecting, even the most ordinary-looking coin can be worth a fortune if it has the right combination of rarity, error, and pristine condition, and that's exactly what makes the 1987p quarter so special. First, mintage errors. Some 1987p quarters were struck off-center, double-struck, or with die breaks that created unusual raised lines or lumps on the coin's surface. These errors are like typos in an old book. The rarer and more dramatic, the more collectors drool over them. Second, unbelievable condition. The $1.6 million quarter was graded by an independent coin grading service as MS67, which stands for Mint State 67. To put that in perspective, that's about as close to perfect as a coin can get. Most coins fresh from the mint wouldn't even score that high. A third, collector demand. Washington quarters have always been popular, but in the past few years, demand has skyrocketed. especially for coins from the 1980s in extraordinary shape. When you combine demand with rarity and flawless condition, you get record-shattering auction prices. Alright, let's say you're rummaging through your old change jar or the little pile of coins in your car's cup holder. Date in mint mark. Check that the date says 1987 and there's a small P just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse side. Overall condition. Does the coin look like it just came out of a mint roll? No scratches, no worn down details? That's a good sign. Striking errors. Look carefully for anything unusual, doubling on the lettering, weird lumps, missing elements, or the entire design slightly off-centered. But if you find one that matches these characteristics, do not toss it back in your change jar. Place it in a soft cloth or a coin flip, and get it professionally graded. It could be worth hundreds of thousands or even that golden $1.60 million. Absolutely. In the past 2 years alone, rare 1987 P quarters in near-perfect condition have shattered expectations. Auctions have seen consistent six-figure sales, and a few lucky collectors hit the jackpot. The market for rare coins and high-grade Washington quarters has never been hotter. It's like the gold rush of the 21st century, but with coins instead of pickaxes. I recently spoke with a dealer who told me that more and more collectors are turning their focus to the 1980s coins, because so few people bothered to save them in pristine condition. Everyone thought they were just pocket change. And that's exactly why the survivors are so valuable. Let me tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He's the kind of guy who throws nothing away. He still has boxes of cassette tapes and receipts from the 70s.at. The bottom of a dusty cardboard box, we found an old coffee can filled to the brim with quarters. I started sorting through them, more out of curiosity than anything else. A 1987 P quarter in nearly uncirculated condition. At first, I thought, well, that's neat. But I did a little more research and discovered it was worth thousands of dollars. We sent it in for grading, and when it came back MS-65, the phone nearly flew out of my hand. That one little quarter paid for his property taxes for the year. You never know where life-changing coins are hiding. Always check your change. Especially quarters and pennies. Some of the most valuable coins are still in circulation. Handle coins carefully. Avoid touching the faces. Oils from your skin can damage them over time. Invest in a good magnifying glass. You'll need it to spot tiny errors and fine details. Keep records. Document where you found coins and their grading status. Be patient. Finding $1 million coin takes persistence and a bit of luck. There's something magical about hunting for rare coins. It's part detective work, part history lesson, and part treasure hunt. Every time you find an old quarter, you can't help but imagine the stories it's seen, the pockets it jingled around in, the vending machines it fed, the cross-country road trips it survived, and sometimes, just sometimes, that humble coin turns out to be worth a fortune. The 1987 P Washington quarter is one of the most exciting coins in the collecting world today. With a record market value of $1.6 million, it's proof that incredible riches can be hiding right in your spare change. If you take anything away from this video, let it be this: check your quarters. Look closely. Be curious. You never know when the universe is about to hand you $1 million surprise. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like more tips on spotting rare coins, learning their values, and turning your hobby into a serious side hustle, hit that subscribe button. Tap the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. If you do find a 1987 P quarter worth a fortune, come back here and tell us about it in the comments. We'd love to celebrate with you. Where pocket change becomes powerful. If you've ever tossed your spare quarters into the couch, into a jar, or into the local vending machine without a second thought, you might want to hold on to your seats, because today we're diving deep into the 2017 P. Frederick Douglass quarter, and how one little piece of metal could be hiding a whopping $1.7 million in your house right now. Not $1.70. Not $17. Not even $1,700. We're talking about a single quarter minted in 2017 in Philadelphia with a P mint mark that is now estimated to be worth $1.7 million in today's rare coin market. So if you've ever said to yourself, it's just 25 cents, well, that could have been the most expensive sentence you've ever uttered. Grab your magnifying glass, dig out that old coin jar, and maybe call Grandma, because we're about to crack the mystery behind this $1 million quarter, and I'm gonna walk you through everything from how to spot it to what makes it special. and why collectors are paying mansion-level money for this thing. Oh, and make sure you hit that subscribe button because each week we break down real coins that could make you real money. Now let's get into the good stuff. In 2017, the US Mint released a quarter as part of its America the Beautiful series. And this one paid tribute to none other than Frederick Douglass, the legendary abolitionist, writer, speaker, and all-around American hero. And now most of these coins were made in huge numbers, so you might be thinking, how the heck could one be worth nearly $2 million? Most Frederick Douglass quarters are common, yes. In fact, millions were struck in 2017. But the one we're talking about? It's got some secrets. The 2017 P. Frederick Douglass quarter is one of the rarest of the series because of a combination of ultra-high-grade condition, rare minting errors, and collector demand. This is where numismatics, the science of coin collecting, turns into big-time treasure hunting. Alright, let's get to the million-dollar question. Literally, of the top-tier coin sold for this price was graded by PCGS at an ultra-rare MS70, which means mint state, perfect condition. No nicks, no scratches, no discoloration. It looks like it just rolled off the mint's conveyor belt this morning. Some 2017 P. Frederick Douglass quarters feature a double die on Douglass's hands or the architecture in the background of the reverse. That means when the coin was stamped, it got hit twice, creating a doubled image. Some error hunters call this the Ghost Douglass version because of how the doubling looks. Douglass is a historic figure with global recognition. Combine that with an error coin, and the fact that this specific one was found in a government-issued mint set, boom. You've got collectors around the world throwing 6 or 7 figures into the bidding ring. Now here's where it gets even better. The coin that reached $1.7 million? It wasn't passed down in a velvet box or hidden in Fort Knox. Nope. It was found by a guy in, get this, Altoona, Pennsylvania. He was just sifting through his kid's piggy bank looking for quarters to use at the laundromat. He sends it off to get graded just for fun. And months later, $1.7 million wired into his bank account. I don't know about you, but I'd do a cartwheel right out the front door. Alright, now let's talk about how you can spot this moneymaker in your own collection. Look for the standard George Washington portrait. On the lower right side, you should see a P Mint mark, which stands for the Philadelphia Mint. You'll see a seated Frederick Douglass with a pen in hand and his house in the background. This design was created by artist Thomas Hipschen and engraved by Renata Gordon. If they look doubled, you might have a double die. Some rare errors show overlapping window panes. The word quarter dollar, if it looks blurry or shadowed, you might have doubling. If your coin looks pristine and has any of those signs, you need to get it graded. PCGS or NGC are the two main services. A grade of MS67 or higher is where the value skyrockets. Last summer, I was clearing out my old garage, dust, spiders, the works, and found a shoebox of coins I'd forgotten about. Some were just state quarters, a couple of Sacagawea dollars, even a bent penny from 1972. But right in the middle of that dusty pile, a shiny 2017 P quarter. And yeah, I got a little excited. I whipped out my magnifying glass, heart pounding like I'd found buried treasure. I checked the back, Frederick Douglass staring right back at me. Now, turns out mine was just a circulated version. Worth 25 cents. Maybe 50 cents tops. That's the magic of coin hunting. It turns ordinary days into treasure hunts. You can't sell a rare coin for top dollar unless it's graded and authenticated. Go with PCGS or NGC. Pawnshops won't give you full value. They lowball. You're better off with auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. There are online communities full of wealthy collectors looking for specific coins. Places like CoinTalk, Reddits or /coins, and even niche Facebook groups. Seriously. Don't touch it with polish, don't scrub it. You could ruin its value. Know what your coin has sold for in the past. That way, you walk into negotiations informed and confident. It could be the most valuable piece of change in your life. We've covered the background, the value, what makes it special, how to identify it, and even how to sell it. All that's left is your hunt. Go check your piggy banks, your junk drawers, your glove compartments. Heck, call your uncle who hoards coins in old medicine bottles. That one quarter could change your life. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for weekly guides, coin news, and millionaire coin stories just like this one. Hit that like button, drop a comment if you've got a 2017 P quarter in your stash, and share this video with someone who might be sitting on a goldmine without even knowing it. Hey there, treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts. What if I told you that right now, hiding inside an old jar of change in your kitchen, there could be a little silver-colored disc worth $1.8 million. Sounds like something out of a late-night infomercial, right? But stick with me, because today, we're diving into one of the most surprising and exciting stories in American coin collecting, the 1979 Washington quarter dollar, a coin you've probably handled hundreds of times without realizing you were holding a potential fortune. Today's video is going to show you everything you need to know about why this quarter is so valuable, what to look for, how you can check your own change, and how to avoid common pitfalls that keep folks from cashing in. We're also going to have a few laughs, share a story or two, and by the end, you'll never look at a quarter the same way again. Alright, grab your coffee, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's jump in. Let's rewind to the groovy year of 1979. Disco was still hanging on, gas was under $1, and the Denver Mint was churning out quarters like there was no tomorrow. Most people paid zero attention to them. After all, a quarter is a quarter. You used them in vending machines, you bought a soda, you fed a parking meter, but here's the thing. Not all 1979 quarters were created equal. Some left the Denver Mint with rare, spectacular errors or minting anomalies that turned them into the holy grail for collectors. One of these unique quarters recently fetched $1.8 million at auction. And I'm willing to bet at least one person watching today might have one in their house. A small number of 1979 quarters were struck with dramatic die errors, off-center strikes, double dies, or an improperly prepared planchet. Collectors pay an absolute premium for coins graded MS68 or higher, meaning they are basically flawless, with sharp details and beautiful luster. Even though millions were made, only a tiny handful survived in near-perfect condition with those rare errors. Most quarters have been dropped, scraped, and rubbed to oblivion. If you've got one that's been hiding in a safe or in an untouched mint set for decades, it could be a golden ticket. Alright, time to get hands-on. If you've got a jar of change nearby, now is the time to start fishing. Look right next to George Washington's ponytail. See that little D? That's the Denver Mint mark. Look for doubling on the date and lettering. Check if the strike is off-center. Examine the reeded edge for unusual patterns or missing reeds. If you spot any of these and your coin is in stunning condition, you might be onto something huge. Let's talk about the auction that made headlines in the coin community. In early 2024, a collector consigned a pristine 1979 quarter with a dramatic double die obverse, meaning the front image was struck twice in a slightly shifted alignment. Experts authenticated it, graded at MS68, and when the hammer dropped, it sold for $1.8 million. The seller was an everyday guy who found it in a cigar box of old coins from his grandfather. I'm telling you, folks, this stuff isn't just fairy tales. A few years back, I got the bright idea to look through every single coin jar in my parents' house. My mom thought I'd lost my mind. I spent 2 days sitting on the living room carpet, surrounded by piles of coins. I felt like Scrooge McDuck. No $1 million quarters turned up that time, but I did find a 1950s silver dime worth about $40. That little discovery was all it took to get me hooked on coin collecting. It's the thrill of the hunt. The possibility that something so ordinary could be extraordinary. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value. Leave it as is. You can send it to PCGS or NGC. They'll certify its authenticity and grade its condition. Take it to a reputable coin dealer for an opinion. When coins are worth big money, scammers come out to play. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Always use established companies for grading. Just because a coin is old doesn't mean it's valuable. It has to have the right combination of rarity and condition. Even if you don't find $1 million coin, there's a lot of fun and satisfaction in this hobby. It connects you to history, teaches you patience, and keeps your brain sharp. Telling your friends you're a coin hunter is a great conversation starter. Here's the honest truth. Not every 1979 quarter is going to be worth a fortune. But if you approach it as an adventure and educate yourself, you dramatically increase your odds of finding something special. Check estate sales and flea markets. Look for old mint sets at garage sales. Ask family members if they have coin jars they've forgotten about. The 1979 Washington quarter can be worth $1.8 million if it has rare errors and is in perfect condition. Never clean your coins. Use reputable grading services. Enjoy the hunt, and don't get discouraged. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. Every coin tells a story about the time it was made, the hands it passed through, and the potential it carries. That 1979 quarter in your pocket could be worth more than a house. But you'll never know unless you look. So tonight, dump out your change jar. Go through every quarter. You might just find yourself $1.8 million richer. If you enjoyed this video and want more guides on coins worth serious money, tips on how to sell them, and stories about everyday folks who struck it rich, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. And if you've got a coin story of your own, drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear it. Thanks for spending time with me today. Happy hunting, and remember, sometimes the next big treasure is already in your pocket.